and thank you guys. You guys should already know who I am. I mean, I am world famous. I'm good looking. I mean, come on. GQ is going to be calling me after this. And I'm internationally known. No, but in all seriousness, my name is James Norris. I am the founder of Handicapable Fitness. And I want to thank you guys for being here because it's a Thursday night. The Patriots are on a little bit. And you know what? You took time out of your night to be here with me. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Just by a show of hands real quick, do you guys know what cerebral palsy is? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right, so that's more hands than I had anticipated. But for those of you that don't know, cerebral palsy is a neurological condition that is primarily caused at birth. And it affects people in many different ways. There's cognitive issues, there's speech impediments, and people have a really tough time with tone. For me, as you can see, it basically affects mostly my left arm and my legs. Growing up, I used to call this left arm my crane because when I would get the big muscle contractures, the tone would be so tight that the grip would be really tight. It was awesome for the gym because I could lift things up and put them down like really easy. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm the real life Incredible Hulk. But with that said, fitness truly did save my life, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go on. But that's what made me create the Handicapable Fitness nonprofit. Our mission is to connect those with challenges with qualified fitness professionals and the equipment needed to live a fit and active lifestyle, however it is that they define it. Because people simply don't know what they don't know. So what our mission is like I said, to connect them with the resources and to show them that with hard work, a little bit of faith, and assistance from organizations like us, they too can live a life that they may otherwise have thought to be impossible. So let me backtrack a little bit, tell you my story of how I came to have cerebral palsy and what got me here today. So I was born premature, weighing 2 pounds, 2 ounces. And I was literally the size of a Velveeta box. I don't remember that, but that's what people tell me. And it happened. I was born normal, though. There was no birth defects outside of that at birth. When I was 1.5, I went in for a hernia operation. The hose came free from my mouth, and my brain was without air for 5.5 minutes, which in turn caused the cerebral palsy. But you see, the doctors, they didn't say anything to my parents. They just bundled me up and sent me home. It wasn't until I was about 2.5, that my parents realized that I wasn't hitting certain milestones. And they're like, what the heck is going on? And we lived in Boston here, so they called Children's Hospital. Shortly thereafter, that's when they diagnosed me with the cerebral palsy. And when I was growing up, my family, they never really treated me any different. In fact, I would say that they were harder on me because of the fact that they didn't want me to use my cerebral palsy as a crutch. So if I got a bad grade in school, you have to call your grandmother in California. You have to call, your uncle out in California, and you have to explain to them why you didn't get a good grade. And it wasn't that they were being harsh, they just didn't want me to feel bad for myself. And that being said, though, I had confidence issues. And I always looked at myself as having CP first before James. And that's how I felt that other people looked at me as well. So growing up in an effort to help me develop better social skills and become friends with people, my mom would enroll me in programs such as Challenger basketball and Challenger baseball. And I remember this one particular time at summer camp, it was arts and crafts time, and they ran out of room at the picnic table that everybody was working at. So the teacher literally brought me into a closet, shut the light off, gave me markers, and told me to draw pictures. Now, this happened when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I still remember it very vividly to this day. So what I want to tell you guys is that your words and how you speak to yourself and to other people truly does matter, whether it's good or bad. Things can be forgiven, but they can never be forgotten. That being said, there's been a lot of bright shining stars in my life, and one of them is here tonight, and it's this lady right here. She always, we had a very common bond of loving sports, and she showed me that, hey, you can do the things that you're passionate about, even if it looks a little bit different. Just get out there and do it. So she said, why don't you become the manager of the girls' basketball team? So I did, and that was one of the best things that I had ever done before. And as we would go throughout the school years and everything, I would go into her class, and the thing that drew us together was that we really love sports. And we would always talk about, hey, did you see the Celtics last night? Man, they really sucked. Or how about those Patriots? They were awesome. And but as time went on and senior year approached, she said to me, James, are you going to the prom? I said, no, mister. I said, I don't have time for that. I have sports to watch, ESPN. And she goes, no, you're going. And every day she would nag me, Murray, I know how you feel. She when she gets on something, she gets on it. So, she would always pressure me and being like, hey, who's going to the prom with you? Did you get your tux yet? And I was like, stop nagging me. We were like an old married couple at this point because we were just going back and forth. Long story short, I ended up going to the prom, and that was the first time that I was ever really pushed out of my comfort zone, and it was one of the best things, again, that I had ever done. So I owe this woman here a lot in getting me to this point and being the person that I am today. But as I finished up my senior year, as I alluded to before, sports was a huge passion in my life. And I knew I couldn't go to college and play collegiately or professionally for that matter. So I said, what can I do? What's going to be the closest thing to get me in that realm, in that arena? Then all of a sudden, a light bulb went off in my head, and I said, radio. So I went to school for sports broadcasting, and I was blessed enough to work here in the Boston area for about 6 years, but that also led me to take a job in California. And I was living the life. I was meeting celebrities. I was going to sporting events, and all of the things, right? And so I go to California, and I'm doing all that. Then all of a sudden, shortly, about 3 months into me living out there, I get laid off. I lose my job. But I didn't just lose my job. I lost my identity, because sports was my identity. Radio was my identity. So I couldn't go out and get a regular job just like somebody else. Why? Because I had cerebral palsy. And then all of a sudden, that confidence that I had that was built up through radio and my time in media was shattered. So I began to eat unhealthy. I'm talking fast food every day, 6, 7 beers. I was doing that stuff though to numb the pain of me losing my identity. And I remember this one particular night, I had literally stumbled up the stairs to my bed, and I'm laying there in bed, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, and I said out loud, "James, what are you doing? You are made for so much more than this. You have a gift, and you're just literally wasting it away by drinking and eating it away." And I didn't know anything about health, nutrition, macros, anything like that at this time. But what I did know is that eating salad was good. So I went to Walmart and I got a bunch of those prepackaged salads. And I said, well, if I can literally stomach and force myself to get these things down, because if anybody's had a Walmart salad, like you already know the struggle, it's real. I did that. And so I tell people all the time, my fitness journey started with a Walmart salad. One of these days, I'm going to get that put on a shirt. But as I got more and more involved in fitness, that's when my confidence started to come back. I started to lose the weight. I started to find my identity again. I wasn't James with cerebral palsy. I was just James, and that was a beautiful thing, And one of the things another thing that this fitness lifestyle has afforded me was the opportunity to go to Laughlin, Nevada 3 years ago, almost to this day, to participate in the first ever Para-Spartan race. And if you're unfamiliar with what a Spartan race is, it varies between different numbers of obstacles and mileage depending on what it is that you're doing for that race. But this particular one was 3.5 miles through the desert with 21 different obstacles. And I remember going up to the starting line, getting ready to start the race, and using an all-terrain wheelchair that I had never used before. I see a group of 3 or 4 individuals. They come up running up to me. They're going, "Hey, excuse me, can we help you and your team get through the race?" And I'm thinking to myself, well, we got this guy over here with a spinal cord injury. We got me with cerebral palsy. This guy's missing a leg. So, we'll take all the help we can get. So I'm like, okay, so, a lot of these obstacles required me to get down on my hands and knees and literally crawl and do these things. Or if I couldn't do it that way, I had to put complete trust in these strangers that I just met, 3 hours ago. I don't know if I was drinking or what, but I said, okay, and we're probably about 3/4 of the way through the race, and I remember the barbed wire crawl. It's actually this picture right here that's on the card in front of you, and my knees were bleeding, my arms were bleeding, all of that stuff, and I was battling, with, can I even continue this thing? Do I even want to continue? Why did I come out here and do this? And then I remember two things, right? I remember this young man that I had met the night before who had also had cerebral palsy. He shared with me that he came to this race because he knew I was going to be there. So I was like, oh, I have to finish at this point. And then as I'm going through the barbed wire crawl, I remember, that movement is a gift. Moving our bodies is a gift. Not everybody can do that. So we have to get out every day and do something, because let me pause for a second and really let that sink in. Movement is a gift. There's so many people out there that would love to be able to do the things that we're doing, even on our crappiest days. So if we don't do what we can do that day, then that's disrespectful to them. So we can't take this precious gift that we've been given and just throw it away, because it's so important. And so I finished the barbed wire crawl, and I'm so pumped up now because I'm like, yes, that barbed wire crawl is over. I beat you, barbed wire crawl. You can't take me out. And then I remember those 2 lessons that I shared with you, and I got out of the chair and I walked across the finish line, because I wanted to pay homage to those that helped me get to this point. And it's just like I'm going to say here, the James you see today is not that James. It took so many people to help get me here. It took God to get me here. I'm a very strong believer in my faith, and without all of you guys, without all the supporters, and without God, I would not be here. So that's who I wanted to pay homage to. And it's funny because as we look back on things, we want things so bad in life sometimes, right? And we're like, if I could just get that job, if I could marry this person, or have this much money, or drive this car, then my life would be complete. But oftentimes, it's the things in life that seem so insurmountable that are really what we need to push us forward and help us grow, especially when we're at a crossroads in life and we know that if, hey, we make this decision or we make that decision, can really dictate how our life goes. You know, and these are just a few of the stories, and this is why I've started Handicapable Fitness, because I want to empower people like they've empowered me, you know, and I'm so blessed each and every day to interact with the people, Melissa being one of them here, you know, that I get to speak with almost on a daily basis, and these people motivate me. But guys, this is a nonprofit. Like, it takes a village to accomplish this mission. I can't do it alone. You know, there's been a lot of people that have helped out, but I need help. So with that, if you want to follow our athletes and our journeys and what it is that we're doing as an organization, I invite you to either come up here and talk to me after the Q&A, or visit handicapablefitness.com and see what we're all about. And if it's something that you truly believe in, I invite you to get involved. With that, that is my time. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really, really appreciate you.